Welcome to the Bulls REKAP Emergency Podcast, Trade Deadline Edition. Joe Cowley from the Chicago Sun-Times, looking homeless because I went straight from airport to arena after a nice little 2.5-hour delay. But I am here and just had Arturas Karnisovas on a Zoom call. Patience. He wants more patience. Let's bring in the crime dog, McGuffey. What's up, buddy?
Two guys who don't have patience right here. These two guys. No patience.
I wonder if do I retire? Is my retirement going to happen before this team wins a playoff series?
Ooh. I mean, what's the over-under on years before they do that?
I don't know. My youngest is turning 14 tomorrow.
All right, there it is.
We got to get her through college, or at least close to through college. So
wow, like I was
going to win a playoff series in 6-7 years.
I'll say yes to that because I don't think AK will be here. So yes, but if you're going to say by high school graduation, I think that's the fun one.
Yeah.
So Joe, make sense of this because a couple of days ago when we were doing this, it was like, okay, finally. Today, I'm kind of I'm looking at this roster, dude. We'll get into this in a second, but I don't know. Like the IO trade was perplexing a little bit to me.
Well, I think the first three trades were all good, made sense. I applaud them. Golf clap. We're not standing ovation here. Golf clap, but they were good basketball moves. Starting with Kobe, things went off the track, and I think that's went off the rails. And I think that's when he was just throwing crap at the wall. He tried telling us last week in Indianapolis he has a plan. I don't know if there's a plan. I think like I said, we looked it up the other day. You did. Whatever the Serbian word is or for raccoon, this is what a raccoon does. He just digging through other people's trash, hoping a Dillingham becomes a Josh Giddey or a Jaden Ivey becomes a Josh Giddey and kind of is out of an environment where they were kind of held down and kind of can excel. And then those are the guys they kind of lock in because this basically is a 2-month tryout for a lot of these guys. The one thing he said that is bothersome and should be bothersome for Bulls fans is he won't call this a rebuild. He's calling it a stage, but he wants patience for this stage. So
how do you not call it a rebuild when you've traded your tops?
Because he doesn't want to use
Gideon Matisoff. You traded the 7 players on your team that were worth a damn outside of those 2.
Yes. He didn't want to use the word. I don't know if it's a pride thing or what, but I mean, dude. And so one of the questions I asked him is, are you ready to admit that this is a year too late? And his explanation was not a good one. He said, no, I'm not going to admit that. And the reason is because Modest was a rookie last year and we had to instill some habits and kind of let him, it's not like he experienced a bunch of winning. You know what I mean? So it was a soft answer. I didn't love it. But again, we were allowed 1 or 2 questions in Zoom format. It's not like you could just fire them out and then you got to, get sent to the back of the line. So it wasn't my favorite format, but it is what it is. And then I asked him why you poo-pooed second-round picks and made us seem dumb for years, and now you go and get 105 second-round picks. What goes with that? And his answer to that was, well, things have kind of changed and they have more value now.
Okay. So you've no, he'll probably sell half of them. I mean, the NBA is basically going to leave the draft and say the Chicago Bulls are on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. Here's the thing that's the most bothersome to me. I wrote it. I said it. We've talked about on this podcast going back to year 1 when this fine thing started up last year, and I was screaming back then from the top of a mountain, blow this thing up. Start the rebuild now because this 25 draft class is special. The 26 draft class is special. And that doesn't mean they were going to get the lottery odds. But when you've shown you can't draft well, when you've shown you can't always make great trades, and I will applaud some of the trades he's done until the last 24 hours, but he was on a nice little roll. But when you show you can't do those things, then take the gun out of the baby's hands and take as many lottery balls as you can get, go in the lottery, and hope you get lucky. And look, they doing what they did last year, a Josh Giddey half-court shot caught them cost them Cooper flag. So it doesn't really matter where you're at. But at the same time, when you're showing these weaknesses as a leader and as a VP, then give yourself the best chance possible. Even now, doing it now, you already have, 24, 25 wins?
24 wins, yep.
Look at those teams in front of them. Utah, Washington, all those teams this is going to be a masterclass in tanking. And the Bulls are right in it now, but I think best case scenario is they move up to 9. If you would have had this mentality last year at this time, you would have betted your odds last year in that lottery, and then you would be one of the bottom 3 or 4 teams right now this season. So that's what is pissy. I see someone saying Bulls lost Cooper Flag to a coin flip. No, because if Josh Giddey wouldn't have hit that shot, there's no coin flip. They would have had that spot.
And by the way, I don't even want to blame Josh Giddey's half-court shot there.
No, I mean, he's competing. You ain't going to tell him,
Yeah, exactly. The organization lost Cooper Flag. Not a coin flip. They didn't make the decision to go for Cooper Flag. That's right. Why they lost. It had nothing to do with – I mean, you're right. It did have something to do with Giddey hitting the shot. But in that, it didn't, because
they were never all in on Cooper Flag,
and they don't deserve him. They don't deserve to be all in. They don't deserve to be all in on 26, because he can say whatever he wants in the Zoom, Joe. Here's the answer: he did wait 2 years too late. We all know it. Fans know it. Pseudo fans know it. Guys who dip in and out know it, and guys like you who cover the team inside and out all know it. The entire league knows it. Everyone's looking around going, "Wow, this is unlike the Bulls," but. Now what? You look. I mean, I don't know who they're going to roll out there. You better stretch your hammies and stuff pregame. You might get a couple turns.
I already played this morning at the Y. I got a bad hammy, but I'm taller than Yuki, so I will probably move to a 2-guard or maybe even a forward spot. And Casey Johnson's here. He's got some fouls to give. He already said so. Yeah, this is going to be ugly tonight. I don't know what the point spread is. I'm sure
8.5. By the way, it was my bet of the day at the lunch hour. I don't understand it. I'm uncomfortable with how easy it feels. 8.5?
That's almost too. It's too good. Maybe you'll have a bunch of tryhards for the Bulls, and they kind of.
Is there a bunch of Yukis playing for Toronto that I don't know about, because I don't understand?
No. I mean, Toronto's sitting a couple guys, but nothing. No, that's a crazy one. Yeah, I mean, last I was told, Dillingham was here. He was in country. I'm trying to think who else. Jay Nivey was at shoot around. So he's probably, but I mean, how much you can't really put stuff in. You're just basically playing a pickup game tonight.
100%.
Yeah, it's a pickup game. So
Rain Man says, what are we talking about? Rebuilding the 26 draft? Not really 26 draft. We're not really talking about the 26 draft. They've won too many games. If they went 0-31 the rest of the way, they've almost won too many games.
Because I'm telling you right now, what Washington and what Utah did was a master class in adding very talented vets. And yes, they're big contracts, but having already young players in place because you've been tanking, and now you're going to dip back into this 26 draft class. Hope you get lucky. Indiana, you kind of put them in the same boat too, what Indiana's doing. Washington and Indiana and Charlotte have already jumped the Bulls for next season. No matter what the Bulls do this offseason. I mean, obviously, okay, I won't say whatever they do. Maybe something big falls in their lap. I still think they left talks with New Orleans on the table to see what happens the rest of the way with the Pelicans. Do they come off of Zion? I mean, that's going to be in play. The one thing I'll say, he'll be able to play bully ball with his cap space this summer. But what's going to be available? How many teams can you bully? I mean, yeah, you can bully Utah probably for Kessler because of the contracts they added. Maybe. You're not going to bully Detroit for Jalen Duren. They're going to up him. They're going to figure out the money and make sure that they up him or match whatever you bid. Tari Eason, you tried getting him in a trade. It didn't happen. You can go back and bully Houston for him. But they wanted those guys so that they were the ones having control of the market. So the market had to come to them. That's why they wanted those guys now, because you're in a whole different place for restricted free agents. But teams like Indiana, Utah, Washington, for teams that can't get free agents to come there, master class in what they've done and still being viable in tank mode and alive to add talented players in this class, which to me is 1, 2, 3, stellar, little drop, 4, 5, 6, 7, nice, and then a drop after that. So if the Bulls could somehow land in the top 7 and get some lottery luck, okay, just don't screw it up. And if they get real lucky and land in the top 3, God bless them, because they're going to get a dude.
I'm going to ask you, I'm going to kind of hit some of these questions. Bang, bang, bang. It's all about AK's press conference since a lot of the fans don't get to see it. But Rain Man says all he did was talk, said basically nothing. Also, that we're going to start watching college games made me see red.
That was a good line. We're going to start watching college games.
It's like
okay, probably something you want to start doing. Okay.
Yeah. Melvin said, he literally said, quote, "You can't go wrong with having too many draft picks." This goes back to what you just said, how he's valued second-round picks for cash the last few years. And Travis says he basically admitted he has no idea what he will do.
Yeah, so, he basically said everything's a wait and see.
So to Travis's point, like, how is this man still in charge? 2 days ago when we did this live podcast, you said the smoke coming from West Madison is starting to show itself, no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what does that look like? Explain that to fans who are sitting here pounding the pavement going, I don't mind the trades. I don't mind the Bulls doing a purge, but make sense of it because it's hard to.
Right. So he was asked about where Michael and Jerry are in this. And, of course, he said that they've all talked about it and they're all step and step. Yeah. I will say this. Yes, they are step for step right now. But now there is smoke in this thing where, yes, you did your little secret extension, Arturas, this year, next year, the year after. So you've got technically 3 more years on your contract. The Reinsdorfs will eat 1 year. They won't eat multiple years. So if this thing does not start getting a foothold and start going in a direction that you can say, okay, and it starts with this upcoming lottery and then obviously with free agency and the restricted free agent market. If he can make some headway in there, okay. But if he can't, I definitely think that Michael will step in and admit that this has been a mistake. But he still has time. So there will not – put it this way, if this thing is not going in a direction, there will not be another secret extension.
I want to ask you about this because this came up earlier today on the lunch hour too, and Jose is saying management, we know coaching must go. Can you draw the line in the sand? Because I know how fondly you think of Billy, who's set to speak soon. I'm curious about what he thinks about this direction, but how do you decipher what management has done during the Billy Donovan tenure and the coaching Billy Donovan has done during this time? You know, if you told me the Bulls lose by 4 tonight, I wouldn't be shocked for one reason, Billy Donovan. That's the only reason.
I know I'd probably say it's probably about, feels like half or half. Half the fan base put a lot of blame on Billy. I do not. I mean, the NBA is about Johns and Joes, and X's and O's only get you so far. And I think Billy has maximized. Look, I had Tibbs. Tibbs will squeeze blood out of a rock. We know that. So you can't compare him to Tibbs. Tibbs is one of the top 5 elite coaches in the NBA, employed or unemployed. I don't give a damn. He's a top 5. What Billy is top near the top of that second tier. And people can dispute that, argue that all day and say Billy doesn't do this and Billy doesn't do that. Give me one really good solid all-star that Billy's had, because I've seen when he's had good players, Durant, even when Durant left, and he had Chris Paul, that team did stuff that no one thought they would do because Chris Paul was still a superstar. He was on the tail end of superstar. So I know Billy can coach, and I know Billy can get stuff out of guys that other coaches can't. So I don't think a coaching change is the problem. Now, will Billy step down? Will Billy want to be in for this? That's what I'm going to ask him here in about a half hour when we still got time, 45 minutes, I think now. So, because I want to know, Billy, do you really want to go through this crap? I mean,
what do you think?
Life?
Before I ask, what do you think?
I think he loves the working relationship he has with the front office because he didn't have it at OKC. I think he's competitive as hell, and those two worlds are going to clash because you're in a great situation where a front office is not looking to cut your legs out from underneath you and suck on the nipple of analytics like he did it. They made you do at OKC and that kind of stuff. But I also think that Billy is competitive as hell, and I don't know if he wants to. I mean, look, he's a Hall of Fame coach. The dude, right. And I don't think people in Chicago understand. Look, Chicago has nothing to do with Gainesville, but this dude's a freaking legend who never has to buy a drink or a dinner when he goes back down to Florida. And is he that in Chicago? Hell no. But he is not as bad as some Bulls fans make him out to be. And who's going to be a better coach for this team? You've seen what they've done as far as coaching hires. This is not a great spot to coach. So this is as good as it gets, I think, since the Tibbs era.
And one follow-up to that, don't you let's imagine a world where Billy exits. Who are you bringing in? You're going to bring in a Tim Floyd-esque rebuild guy. And if that guy doesn't develop, Josh Giddey and Modest, it's just going to do this.
Yes.
Because at this point, you do have two key cogs. You have to develop these guys. You can't keep having guys come through here and then weeding them out and letting them go somewhere else and becoming Laurie Markkinen or some other example of that over the past 10, 15, 20 years, because we just keep doing the same repetitive insanity cycle. And if you don't have Billy Donovan, I can tell you right now, they're going to go cheap. And so what's cheap? It's going to be a guy who's happy to have an NBA job, not quite the coach or experienced coach that Billy Donovan is. And then you're sitting here at the end of 4 years of Josh Giddey and the rookie contract of Modest and going, woohoo, see you later. And you're doing the same damn thing over and over. I want to ask you about these next 31 games from an ideal standpoint. And we're not going to keep it too long. What's an ideal standpoint for the Chicago Bulls over the next 31 games?
Lose 28 of them.
I was hoping I knew you'd say that. That's why I wanted to hear you say it.
Lose 28, and Modest is 2010. And some of these new guys are flashing. Jay Ivey is flashing and understanding the style of play, and they're still losing by 10 or 12 every night. But you're seeing guys kind of say, okay, Jay Ivey can play in this style, this up-tempo style, and Anthony Simon. Were they looking to move Simon? Yes, if something bigger came along. But now it's an audition for him. And so will he be a good enough audition, or do they say, okay, we're moving on from him and having even more money? I mean, they could have a lot of money if they continue to move on from all these guys. So, lose games. I mean, that's priority number one. And if you could see Modest take a jump while you're losing games, beautiful. If you can't, and then you're on your hands and knees in May when the draft lottery's going on and you're praying.
I'm going to put you on the spot. If you were grading the Bulls trade deadline, what would it be?
See, if you would ask me yesterday morning,
48 hours ago, it would have been a what? Yeah,
I would have said a B. Right now, I'm leaning towards CC minus, because I think the Minnesota one, you basically are saying we're willing to invest in Rob Dillingham, but not in Io. And one's a proven product and one's not. And the age difference is only 3 years. So I don't want to hear about a timeline. That one was just let's just throw some crap at the wall and make one last trade. So.
All right. So lastly, I asked, 3 and 28, you get bursts of Jaden Ivey. We see Modest develop into 2010-esque-ish, whatever. You probably shut down a guy or two along the way. If you were I have no idea what the market is, and it's probably improbable at this point for you to come up with a market. But if you were coming up with an ideal way to keep Jaden Ivey, what is a market like right now for him ish?
Yeah, see, they're in a great situation with him because it's not – he might not even get bid on. There's not a lot of money.
A Giddey type situation.
So they set the market on him. He's not going to get a Giddey contract. It will be way lower than that.
What's he right now, 10.5 or something like that?
Something like that. I mean, he's to me 15, 16 million a year.
Yeah.
And no one will say boo about it. I mean, they know they could get him at a very team-friendly deal, and I think they're hoping because of the lack of money with only 8 or – see, it's one thing saying, okay, there's only going to be 8 or 9 teams that have money this summer, but the other thing is, do those 8 or 9 teams even want to spend that money? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you might be just dealing with a couple teams that even call and make any kind of movement. So he's in a good spot. He picked a good offseason to play team-friendly deal guy and stingy guy, because there's going to be a lot of stingy money that he can or stinginess that he can kind of keep in-house. So that's in his favor. But you still have to hope you get lucky in the lottery, hit there. You have to hope that Noah Sengay is something, because right now he's nothing. And then you have to hope that Giddey has a higher ceiling than we think he has, because I think we're seeing the ceiling for Josh Giddey. It's a good ceiling. It's not a great ceiling. He's not a dude. And then you have to hope Modest takes a huge jump in year 3. So there's a lot of hope for this thing to start getting a foothold. But hey, he wants time.
Hey, my favorite too. Anytime you can throw time and then hope and faith all together in the blender, that usually equals somewhere between 9 and 14 in the lottery. Go Bulls!
It's welcome to Chicago sports, isn't it?
Oh my God, Joe! You go get. Hey, I'm go get changed, get stretched out, lathered up. Let Billy know if he wants.
I'll let him know. Hey,
let him know you're available for some fouls. I think you got a bucket or two in you. I know you got a few assists, but I think you got a bucket or two.
It's fun. We had a Bulls media game years ago, and Randy Brown and Kendall Gill were just going at it. I had Kendall on my team, just going at it. I threw a nice alley-oop to Kendall, and you see, I mean, look, when you see the difference, even in a guy who hadn't played in years, in Kendall and Randy Brown compared to just a normal sludge like me, it's hilarious. But a couple times I got switched on Sean Respert. Respert was nothing in the NBA. But that dude, that dude's lower body and that ass just freaking just. I mean, I'm like, oh my God! I'm just like, different species, man. It was just another reminder of why I do what I do and they do what they do. So
I know.
I'll go out. I'll go foul Scotty Barnes.
Well, I sure as hell know you got a foul or two in you. At that point, I know for a fact, and it's going to be aggressive.
I know I wasn't welcomed in Toronto for a couple of years. We patched things up, but hey, I'll incite the crowd. I'll get things going.
Yeah. I know. We got no more V space. Let's go. I know. Yeah. Look, from an edge standpoint, I don't know if there's a player currently that's on the Bulls roster that's got the edge.
No.
All right. Well, in case Billy wants to quit, I guess you can always coach.
Oh, yeah. I get to work with Arturis then. Maybe I'll get a secret extension. You never know. And
you'll be sitting here on the next podcast asking for more time. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I need more time. Ryan, a little more time. So
take us home, my friend.
All right. Hey, next week we got I'll be in where the hell are we going to be? Oh, Brooklyn, Boston. Get to see Vooch. Get reacquainted with Vooch. I texted with him the other day. He's thrilled. He was very shocked, but he's thrilled. So we'll get to touch base with the Vooch. And there you go. But until then, I got next.